Hey, Delilah.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good, good.
All right. So, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the vlog. So today we're with Delilah. She is the owner of this amazing studio space here in Downtown Riverside. So we're gonna do a quick intro about her and how she came up with this studio and she's gonna give us a tour because it's a pretty amazing location. So Delilah, give us a quick introduction about yourself and also about the studio.
Hi, I'm Delilah. I'm a Southern California based photographer and I own the Creative Loft studio in Downtown Riverside. So a little bit about me. I've been a photographer for 10 years. Absolutely love it. Don't ever plan on quitting. But essentially I bought this studio from Mikey about 1.5 years ago, and it's been such an amazing journey. So we have 700 square feet of open space inside the studio floor. Tons of curated props from, you know, just our seasonal backdrops, which is set up for Mother's Day, spring. We have one right there. And then in this corner, we have our other seasonal backdrop, which is also for Mother's Day and spring. And then we have couches, chairs. The best thing about the studio is these very large windows that let in so much natural light. If you look outside, you get a beautiful view of Downtown Riverside too, which is probably my favorite part. Just the fact that we get so much natural light in here all day long is the best thing.
Right, yeah. It's really amazing. I mean, what time is it? It's like almost 10 a.m. and it's a little cloudy, but you can still see tons of light coming through. So, and it's all natural. Like, we don't have the lights turned on right now. So it's pretty bright in here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty nice little space. So essentially what we do here is we allow other photographers to rent out the space by the hour, and other content creators and anyone who wants to come in here, create content or photograph for their sessions also have the ability to rent the space.
Awesome. And where are we located right now in terms of Riverside?
So we're located off of University in Orange, right above Worthington's. It's on the same building as Back to the Grind Coffee. Yeah.
Just so you guys have like a better idea, we are very close to Mission Inn Hotel. They're literally down the street. Like, I think
it's right across the street, right there in the corner.
Like within walking distance. And also, if you guys are wedding photographers, you already know what I'm talking about. We are across the street on this side by Loft 84. And then there's another wedding venue called Life Art Center, which is like this way. So we're centrally located pretty much in a lot of the cool venues. So, but yeah, this is really a really cool space. One thing I want to point out too is the floor. So the floor has a lot of history, very, very, very cool. And then everything's pretty much white, like the walls. So when you do like natural photography, that's kind of what you want, right?
Yeah, I would say just having like the clean background too just helps everything feel modern and timeless. You know, there's a lot of studios that have their own type of vibe to them, but I think the best thing about this studio is that it does have such a modern vibe to it. So you can create anything and bring in your own props and just be able to have like a clean canvas to create on.
Nice, nice. First, I want to ask you about this because this is a really, really cool like backdrop. How did you come up with this style and like this idea?
ChatGPT. So I actually looked online for something with drapes, and I am terrible at setups, and so I actually asked a good friend of mine who's also a photographer, and I was like, hey, I need help. You want to help me set up something for Mother's Day? And so she did. We came in, and believe it or not, this actually took us about 3 hours to set up because we had to get all of the drapes at the right size and just kind of nail things to the wall. But it's nice. I love it. Yeah. It's just kind of one of those things that's trendy right now, and I really wanted to be able to provide something to photographers to be able to create. My whole thing with the studio is being able to provide a space where people can come in and feel like they're part of something, and just creating that sense of community. And so with just anything that I do inside the studio, I just try to go all in and put my whole heart into it, because it means a lot to see other people come in here and be able to utilize it just like I have.
Yeah, this is really amazing. I mean, I think you did a great job just because it's not just like one dimensional in a sense, because it's kind of like you have that mirror in the back.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like set up where
Yeah.
the chairs are this I don't even know what this is called, but this chair here, and then so you have a little bit of depth, right?
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Just
yeah.
because you can get from different angles when you're
Yeah.
photographing too.
That's true.
You could kind of peek through this little hole right here.
Okay,
and
I see.
Get from this angle.
Right. Yeah, very cool, very cool. And then you have another setup here.
Yes.
Tell us about this.
So I actually bought these boards for, I don't know why, but I had them in the back for about 6 months. And then I was like, wait, I can create another setup. And so I was like, wait, I can utilize this for another setup just to give people the options. I did that during Christmas. I had 2 Christmas setups in here.
Right,
so I had
right.
a Christmas setup right here, and then I had a Christmas setup on this wall right
okay.
here. And so, again, just to offer variety to the studio and allow people to come in and be able to create. I just kind of threw this one together one
Yeah,
weekend.
very cool.
And this is plastic, but I added a little bit of plastering just to give it some texture, and
Right. Oh, that's nice.
just added some more drapes. Drapes are really trending right now, so
Yeah.
I was like, I want to be able to just give people the options. I actually bought this chair from
The chair's cool.
Modern Vibe Studio. The
okay.
owner Maya, she was selling it, and so I was able to buy it from her. And I just thought it was such a perfect fit for this little setup.
Very cool. So this could be used pretty much for all kinds of shoots.
Yeah.
Here, huh? I like the fact you had that little chair right there.
Yeah. Oh, that's not supposed to be there. Someone moved that there.
And then you have a ton of props. So like you have, I mean, this right here. Actually, this is.
That's the one that you gave me.
Yeah. This is again, a shout out to my good friend Mickey from Heart and Pride Muay Thai. But this is being used for good use now. So, because I feel like it wouldn't really do justice to just keep it in my home.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, let's just have it in the studio. But yeah, you have a ton of different props. So tell us about like why you have so many props here.
It just gives people the option to have just variety of stuff. So like for me, if I'm doing a branding shoot and someone wants to utilize the shelves, then we can move the shelves, move the desk that we have. We have a really nice desk in the back that I'm not going to show you because it's messy. But we have a really nice desk in the back that really matches the shelves. And so if I'm doing, like, let's say headshots for a real estate agent, or I did some for a therapist, and she wanted it to look more like an office setting, I was able to move the shelves on a blank wall and just add some props to it. Obviously, the props that we're not using, just kind of set them aside.
Gotcha.
And then just so that way we can create that office type setting.
Yeah. I mean, you also have this table also,
yes,
right?
that table is now designated to our little toys for kids because
awesome.
we do get a lot of kids in here.
Oh, nice.
I was trying to downsize on my daughter's toys, and she hates donating things. And I was like, what if we just took them to the studio and you can play with them, but also let other kids play with them too?
That is a good idea.
So
wow, that's
the only
awesome.
hard part is just you have to sanitize everything because, kids get sick, especially during flu season. But it was just something to have for the kids to play with, just to keep occupied when they're here, because we do get a lot of kids in and out of the studio.
Wow, that's cool. Awesome. And let's move to this side of the wall. So tell us about this right here.
So right here we have our seamless backdrops, and I do have to change them out every so often because we do go through them pretty quickly.
Right.
They are included with the rental if you pay an additional fee, but essentially, I'll show you a clean one. You just pull down these things that Mikey actually set up before he left the studio. And you can utilize the backdrops. And once they get like really dirty, I have to actually cut this one off.
Gotcha.
So I'll cut this one off after you leave. But yeah, so you get to utilize these too, which is really nice because people can use them during their sessions if they're doing headshots, if they want more of like just a plain look
Yeah,
type
yeah.
of thing.
Especially for headshots.
Yes,
I feel
yeah.
like having
Headshots
just a
is
plain
huge.
background.
And with this window right here,
Mm-hmm.
it's really nice because it hits directly onto this wall right here.
Yeah.
So if you're shooting indoors and you're used to being a natural light photographer, this is perfect
Yeah.
because you really don't need any artificial lighting to get the good even lighting on your subject.
Oh, so true. And everything just reflects.
Yeah.
So all these walls just reflect white. So it's pretty nice. And then you do have a couple massive couches here. So tell us about these two couches.
So this one came with the studio when I purchased it, the gray one. It's really nice. It has kind of like a vintage look to it.
Yeah.
Very comfortable. We lay on it a lot when we're just hanging out in here. And then our leather couch back there.
Yeah.
That one's a newer one. We got that one last summer. And that one came in because the original white couch that I had in here just got really dirty.
Right.
It was kind of like a mesh type fabric.
Right,
And
yeah.
so we had to do a lot of cleaning on it. So I needed something leather.
Absolutely. No, I think it still looks nice for a lot of like the professional
Yeah.
headshots or branding.
Yes.
But I think this one is just really nice for like seasonal stuff, I think. You know, like Christmas
Yeah.
and things like that. So super cool. But also in regards to the studio, you also can rent it out for like events, right?
Yes, yeah. So we do event rentals. We've had a couple. So we've had some girl that rented it for a Galentine's Day event. I've had a couple events in here myself. So I've had Galentine's Day events myself, meetings, things like that. So it's not just for photographers or content creators.
Right.
Although we have had some really big content creators come in here, which is pretty awesome. And one of the guys, I want to say he has like over 300,000 followers. And he like messaged me the other day. He was like, I just want to say thank you for letting me use your studio. It's perfect. And his reel that he used to film the studio went viral. And I was like, that's actually really cool because the girl he was filming with had like over 1 million followers. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. So just things like that. Like people can come in here and utilize it for essentially anything.
Nice, nice. And then in terms of like the hours, you know, what's the availability during the week?
Yeah, so I did extend the hours from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. It used to be 7 to 7.
Okay.
So it is actually open from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. I don't ever recommend coming down here that late because we are in downtown Riverside. And there's a club right downstairs. So usually around like 7 or 8 o'clock, they start doing like sound checks and you can't even hear your thoughts going in your head.
Right,
because
right.
the whole building is shaking.
But on the personal note, like in terms of like managing the studio, like how's it been after a whole year? You know, what are some of the challenges you had when you first had the studio?
I think the biggest challenge was just there were times where I'd come in and you know, you see things that are like broken or damaged and it's like, man, I just spent a fortune to buy this space and buy the props in the space and buy the business, and it's like that's probably the biggest challenge. Other than I live in Redlands, this is in downtown Riverside, and so having to make the trip out here to constantly clean it. But a lot of our renters are very respectful, which I really appreciate. But then you do get those odd renters that are like, they just don't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's
I
the
think
hard part.
that's like the hardest, you know, the most difficult part of owning a studio, right? It's because like, you know, you own the studio, and then you rent it out to someone, but there's gonna be some people that's not gonna like
take care of it like it's their own.
like it's their own, yeah.
You don't know how people take care of their own things type of thing too. And so that's just kind of the hard part of renting it.
Exactly.
And I try to give people the space and obviously the benefit of the doubt. But there's been times where it's like, okay, now you have to stick with policy and you have to follow policy, especially when you're renting someone else's, you know, personal things and stuff like that.
I know for me, one of the biggest challenges when I had back-to-back like bookings, I was like, I really had to remind clients, like, you know, be on time because we have another person that's coming in, and then, you know, they need time to leave and then check in.
Yeah.
So that's like one of the most challenging parts because, you know, this is like an open area. There's only one studio here for, you know, so like people will. I don't think I've ever had 1 or 2 clients where they actually had like ran into each other,
Yeah.
but I'm sure that's a challenge.
It
with a lot of
happens a lot
studios.
during the holidays, especially like if someone comes in late.
Yeah.
If like a renter comes in like 20 minutes late, they obviously think they're entitled to an extra 20 minutes on top
Right,
because they
right.
want to get the full time that they paid for. But it just is like, okay, well, if it's back to back, especially during the holidays because it's our busiest time,
Right.
or Mother's Day, like we have back to back sessions this weekend. They just have to be in and out at their designated time because we want to be fair with the other photographers.
Gotcha. Awesome. And then in terms of like cleaning, I know that's probably also another challenge. Like, do you have someone to clean the
I
studio?
did for a while. He was coming in once a week and
Okay.
cleaning the studio, but he hasn't for about a month and a half. And so
Okay.
I have to do that every time I'm out here. Is
Okay.
okay, come in, make time, clean. Whether it's just one thing every time I'm here,
Yeah.
sweeping, mopping, or dusting the next time. But
Right.
I'm in here pretty frequently.
Right,
I would
right.
say like 2 to 3 times a week I'm inside the studio.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, because when I had the studio, like it was kind of difficult for me because I mainly do weddings, so I'll be gone like
He's
during
very
the week,
busy.
gone
Yeah.
for the weekend. So like I'd be coming home like at midnight. So then like I had a client coming in the next day. I would literally just I'd be like dead tired coming in here cleaning. But I had someone, so that's another option too. If you do own a studio, have someone local. That's what I did. Had someone local, and then have them clean like like on the call. That's probably the best option if if you don't live that close. I remember one time I had, luckily I was able to come in and check on the studio, and I had like a birthday shoot, like a cake smash, and I knew it was gonna get messy. And they left a mess. It was like cake all over the floor, on the wall.
Yeah.
So I had to clean that up, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, one time I had a girl, she left it was right before Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say who, but I knew it was her because she came in here like right after I left.
Right.
It was literally 2 or 3 days before Christmas, so I didn't come in until close to the New Year. Left a full cake in the trash, and a client actually told me, he was like, I came in,
Oh
kind of
my.
smelled. He was like, there was a cake left in the trash. He was like, I threw it away for you, and I was like, I know exactly who it was. I should have gone to check, but I didn't think about
Right.
it. So you get those people too, like they leave trash.
That's exactly. Since you've had the studio for over a year, what are like maybe 3 tips you can give to someone that's looking to get into the studio space?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think, especially for someone who wants to own a studio, I didn't think that this was actually going to be in the books for me, just because obviously California is very expensive. I got a really good deal on the space, and I'm very thankful that it happened the way it happened. But I would say definitely do your due diligence if you are looking to own a studio, because I was very quick to jump on it when Mikey had mentioned he was selling the space, and I said, hey, I have the money, I want to buy it. And of course, called my boyfriend, was like, hey, Mikey's selling the studio, we have the money, let's buy it. And he's like, hold on, sit down with Mikey, go over the numbers, make sure it makes sense. And so Mikey was generous enough to just kind of go over everything. Essentially, the studio pays for itself because of the renters, which is really nice. So definitely do your due diligence. Make sure that you are researching and just making sure everything aligns, because if you're not a studio photographer and you want to start booking more studios, you might not have the clientele base in the beginning to open up a studio or start doing more studio sessions. And then another thing is, yes, renting it out can sometimes be a little treacherous, especially if you're just having to deal with things, but it's probably the best thing that you can do when you own a space, because it basically pays for itself. And the last thing I can say is just practice. Like, find a studio that you like and just practice at indoor sessions, because not everyone is a studio photographer. There's a lot of photographers in my group of photographers that I talk to. The majority of their sessions are outdoors, and so when it comes to doing studio sessions, it can be a little intimidating. But I would say the more you practice, the more you're going to get better, the more you're going to learn. Studio sessions for me in the beginning were very new, especially when buying the studio, but I always knew I wanted to own a studio space. I just didn't really have my own practice in doing it. Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years. But when it came to navigating indoor lighting, I didn't know what I was doing, and my editing was off. And just the more I practiced, the more it became, okay, this is natural for me, you know, like this is basically second nature when it comes to taking photos. And
Right. No,
just practice.
No, those are definitely awesome tips, and you have a great space. So if someone wanted to book or, you know, connect with you, what's your email, socials, stuff like that?
So you can find us at _ the Creative Loft on Instagram. We also have our website connected to the page on our bio, allows you to book hourly rentals there, but we're also on Peerspace too, so you can check us out on Peerspace and you can rent through there. That's basically it.
That's
with
awesome.
how to find us online.
Yeah. We'll post all her links in the description down below. Well, thank you so much, Delilah. It was a pleasure, you know, being in your studio, and it's definitely an amazing studio to book if you guys want to use this space. Again, thank you so much, Delilah. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.